So in this video, we're going to be doing some lovely little French knots. So I'm just going to come up somewhere in the middle of this circle here. So you want all your thread on the top. And what we're going to do, you're going to wrap the thread around the needle. Okay, so just wrap it around once. And then you're going to hold that wrap around the needle. So you want this part, you want to hold the tension on there, okay? You're going to put your needle back through the fabric, not in the same hole, but very close to where your thread is coming out of, okay? Not the same hole, but very close to it. You're just going to put your needle through the fabric there, and then using this left hand, I'm just going to guide that twist so it comes down to sit on the fabric. Okay, then I'm going to push the needle all the way through and bring that thread to follow. I'm still holding on to that thread, keeping that tension, and just pull it through. And there you have your little French knot. Okay, so we'll do that again. Maybe if I zoom out just a little bit, you'll be able to see my hands a bit better. So coming up to the top of the fabric, I'm going to twist that thread around the needle just once. Okay, I'm keeping that tension with my left hand. You're going to pass the needle back through the fabric. Remember, not in the same hole, just close to it. The needle goes through the fabric. You're going to guide that twist down to the fabric and then pull on through. And there you go. So one more time. Twist once around the needle, put it through the fabric, guide that twist down and pull it all through. So I'll do it once more, zoomed in. Twist once around the needle, back through the fabric, guide that twist down and pull through. And that's your French knot. So these can be really nice just on their own as small little details, small dots, or they can almost be like little flower buds. You can match them with your woven wheels as well, if you're doing a nice floral piece. You can also bunch them together to give a nice texture. So just do them really close together and you get a really nice texture going with them there. They are a little bit raised off the fabric here. So they can kind of add a nice depth to your work as well. And here I'm using 3 strands of thread, so I get some nice knots, not too small, not too big. If you want to create bigger knots, some people will say to twist more times around the needle, but to me that just creates a kind of lopsided knot. What you actually want to do is just use more thread. So only twist once, but just use more or less thread depending on how big you like your knots. So you can see, bunching them together here, you can start to see that texture show that I was talking about. You can, of course, as well create French knots that have a bit more of a tail. So when I go back down through the fabric, if I come a bit away from where the thread is coming through the fabric, if I go back down over here, you can see it has a bit of a tail on the end of it. So you can get a nice effect with that as well. Of course, you can do your French knots a little bit looser if you don't want to keep that tension. You can do them looser and get a nice kind of loop on them like that. If you feel like your knots are disappearing, a common problem with French knots, you're probably going back down in the same hole that you came out of. So I'll just show you here. If I go back down in the same hole, once I pull through, that disappears completely. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're going down in a separate spot, but you just want it to be nice and close. But that is your French knots. As always, if you have any questions about them, don't be afraid to ask. Hopefully I've explained them well enough. So best of luck with them, and happy stitching.